Good morning students, welcome back. I am making this video for standard 9. The subject is social science history and we will discuss about French Revolution, and this is the third part of the video. Okay. Now in the previous part, in the second part, we have seen about the causes of French Revolution. We have discussed about various economic causes and some other causes that gave rise to French Revolution. We had seen about the role of different intellectuals who provoked the people against Louis XVI and who helped the people to understand their basic rights that ended up the absolute monarchy in France. Now, how the absolute monarchy was ended? So, the absolute monarchy was not ended in one instance. Their main demand was not to end up the monarchy actually, but their intention of the common people at first was to establish a constitutional monarchy. Now, you are hearing this term, a new term. Now, what is this constitutional monarchy? The constitutional monarchy means that the people, the intellectuals, they believe that there should be a constitution, and this constitution will regulate the powers of the ruler, regulate the powers of the king, and the concentration of power will not be in the hands of the king alone. There should be a bench of legislature, executive and judiciary, and the judiciary will decide that what action has to be taken against a crime or a convict. So this was the demand, the main demands of the intellectual classes. So today we will see this third part of this video, and here we will begin with the beginning of the revolution. Now, as we already seen in the part 1, that the third estate, they constitute the 90% of the population in France. Now what happened? Every decision that was taken through voting. All the decisions that were passed, all the resolutions that were passed in France by Louis XVI was done via voting. Now, what type of voting? Is it an individual voting? The answer is no. If there would have been individual voting, so as I had already said you that the third estate, it holds 90% of the population, or the majority is the third estate. So they would win every decision. So every decision would have gone to their favor. But the ministers of Louis XVI, they were not so foolish. They were very tricky. So what they did not make the voting on individual basis. Rather than that, they made the voting on estate basis. That means one state, one vote. That means first estate, one vote, second estate, one vote, and third estate, one vote. Now, who will, among these three votes, who will get the majority? So the bill will be, or the resolution will be passed. Okay. So the three estate, three vote. Who will win the majority? So the bill will be passed according to that. Now every time what used to happen? That the third estate used to lose. Now for example, I am giving you a simple example. Suppose a decision has been taken that whether to raise the tax or not. Suppose Louis XVI is about to take a decision that whether to raise the tax or not. Now the voting is what? One state, one vote. The first state, they will say yes, the tax has to be raised. Why? Because they don't have to pay any tax. The second state, their answer will be also same, that yes, the tax has to be raised. Please raise the tax. Why? Because they also don't have to pay any tax. Now, the third state, whether his answer will be yes or no, it hardly matters, because the majority has already given the decision. So this was the situation of the French society on that time. Now, as the people, they started to raise voice against Louis XVI, and their first demand was to establish a constitutional monarchy in France. I am writing the word over here, that is constitutional monarchy in France. Now what happened? Thousands of people went to Louis XVI to meet him and place his demands. Now what happened over there? That Louis XVI allowed only few members of the third estate to get inside and discuss their problems. When few members entered the royal palace, they saw that all the chairs were occupied by the first and the second estate member. That means the clergies and the nobles, they had already occupied the seat in the royal hall. And there was no chairs left for the third estate members to sit. The third estate members, they were told to stand at the back of the palace and be the part of that meeting or discussion. The third estate member, they felt very insulted over there. And immediately the members, they walked out from that royal palace, the royal court, and all these members, thousands of members who were waiting outside, were informed about the insult, the situation inside. And the members of the third estate, they became very angry. And all of them moved away from there and went to an indoor tennis court in the royal palace of Versailles. And in that tennis court, they were led by two people, important people on that time. Those were Mirabeau and Abbé. Who were these Mirabeau and Abbé? These Mirabeau and Abbé belong from the family of nobles from the second estate. But these two people, these Mirabeau and Abbé, they did not support the extra privileges or the wrong decisions of Louis XVI. So they led the third estate. And what this third estate people did, they moved to a tennis court, an indoor tennis court. And the thousands of people, they came together and they had taken an oath over there. What was the oath? The oath was that until and unless Louis XVI will ready to accept their demand of constitutional monarchy, they will not sit silent, and the revolution will continue one after the other. So this was the oath that this thousands of members of the third estate had taken in the tennis court of that palace of Versailles. So that famous oath-taking incident in the royal court was named as the tennis court oath in French Revolution. Okay. So what demand was there? What was there? The oath? Oath was for setting up a constitutional monarchy where a constitution will guide the powers, or it will restrict or limit the powers of the ruler. So after this tennis court oath, Louis XVI, he was very terrified. He has never expected this sort of uprising among the third estate. Not only Louis XVI, if the people would believe in the history of France or in the history of Europe, none of the ruler, none of the monarch had seen such an uprising before, that the common people are protesting openly against the king. So this was a spark of a new revolution. So this revolution, this situation had terrified Louis XVI. And what Louis XVI did? He was threatened by this unity of third estate people. And immediately he ordered his troops to stand on the streets of Paris so that no further uprising of the third estate people could take place. So immediately after the tennis court oath, the king Louis XVI, he immediately reacted on that situation, and he ordered his ministers and his troops to guard his palace and stand on the streets, move at the streets and control the people, because he understood that the people are now very angry with his decisions and anything can happen. So he was getting ready. He understood that a critical or an anarchy situation is about to begin. So this was the spark of the revolution, so a beginning of the revolution. So this was in this revolution, in this start of the revolution, the message that was given to the ruler was very loud and clear. So with this, I am wrapping up this video, and I will come to with the fourth part of the video very soon. And before I wrap up, we will see what we have. We will discuss what we have seen in this third part. That is the beginning of the revolution, tennis court oath. What was the intention of the tennis court oath? To set up a constitutional monarchy in France, and the king, he was very terrified and he was threatened for the future revolutions that could come, the future critical situations that could come, and he ordered his troops to stand on the streets of Paris to control any situation that could be against the king. So with this, I am ending of this video today, and I will be coming back with the fourth part of this video. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and goodbye.